And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the stream. We're live again in Paris, and it is game number 4 here of our Playday. It's Rogue versus Virtus.Pro. I'll welcome you again. I'm Osh, host of the show. With me are M and Jess, and we're going to talk about our upcoming game of Virtus.Pro and Rogue, starting off with our rosters. Both of these teams having a rough start to stage 2, but they could not be any more divergent through the stage. And as we head close to the end of it, let's go with rosters. Bring them up on the screen. And who is up first? It is Rogue.
It's Rogue. I'll jump in here because that's what we decided before we started this desk segment. So, Rogue, okay, it's been rocky. You had your opener on Coast, and even then it was an 8-6 versus a team that is otherwise struggling too. Since then, it was a dip that was at its lowest around that middle period of Empire and BDS. And although this is strange to say, after a period of 4 losses in a row, they had their best loss recently, which was against Vitality. It was club. It went pretty much all the way. They couldn't lock it out at the very end. It went into Vitality's favor on the 8-7 instead of towards their favor. It was how they said that they would play on a bad day, which is, in a weird way, we're looking for silver linings here. We're looking for that little bit of good because it's a team that has so much potential. They've started to show up. Can they get over that hurdle and get some precious points?
Well, their opponents on the other side, however, will be Virtus.Pro, and one of my favorite teams, at least for the past year, but they've had yet again another rocky stage, and it hasn't been horrific for them, but if you've been following from the start of this stage, they got 7-1 twice in a row, and it looked like they were going to have one of the most dire stages they've almost ever had. And then they went on to 7-3, 2 different teams. They 7-3'd Secret, then they went on to 7-3 Vitality, which was a bit of a surprise to me that they lost, or rather that they beat Vitality, and Vitality lost to them. So it looked like they were back on the up and up. And then, well, as per usual, as a roller coaster goes up and down, it's inevitable for VP that they were going to go downhill again against Na'Vi, a very, very strong team. I'm not sure where to put VP on my scale of like how well they're doing. They're not consistent like their other CIS comrade of Team Empire. They're just so all over the place that I'm going to have to see the result today to really work out if they're even. I actually think they can't make the top 5 properly unless there's a certain amount of teams that lose unexpectedly. There would have to be a magical sort of leader kind of thing happen, and that's the only way they could make it.
For VP, yeah, it's possible. For Rogue, it's nigh impossible at this point with only 3 points that they have. But you know what? How about then we go to our head-to-head in this matchup. Our ladies here picked up one player out of each one of these 2 teams, and we got Cryan and WTG. What's the comparison, please? Go ahead.
Oh, look, the reason we picked these 2 players is, number 1, WTG. He was subbed out for Andreezy because he needed to take a little bit of time for himself, as players in all regions have been doing recently. And then he's come back and he's put on a damn good show. And then, of course, the newest addition to Rogue, however long ago that was, it's actually been quite a while ago, but still one of the newest additions. He has been the standing light there for Rogue, so it's not a surprise that we want to bring them up, compare them, because at least for me, they've been sitting really close in their impact when it comes to cost.
I think for me, it brings up that interesting storyline about these 2 teams of what is better? Do you look for growth or do you look for changes? Rogue, when they made their massive changes, it said it's a super team, it's all of this, blah, 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 and they had a great sort of Cinderella moment, and then they dipped. Virtus.Pro are one of the longest sort of unchanged teams or entities for a very long time. They tried to change, and it was the worst performance they've had. So they've gone back to it and started to rebuild. At the same time, Cryan, he's a player who's sort of bounced between a lot of different teams. He's been with this Rogue team for a little bit of time now, but at the same time, he's never quite had that performance. He currently finds himself as that top player. He finds himself as the sort of best position right now, which hasn't been great before, but is it that sort of moment where Rogue need that solidity, or Virtus.Pro, will theirs and their lack of change be something that takes them over?
I don't know if I'm completely out of place with this. I liken Cryan's career development to that of Hungary, as in we've seen him jump around between so many teams in the region with, depending on the team, varying levels, wildly varying levels of success. And, you know, maybe the time to find the right spot is coming up. We'll see. Hungary's definitely found his position in G2. We'll see with Cryan. And that is our head-to-head, though. So what happens next in our map ban? Let's see which map we're going to be playing on. Excited. It's 7 maps. 6 will go down. We'll be left with 1. And we're going to go to Oregon. Out of everything, VP will take us there. And they're going to be on the attack because Rogue chose to defend Chalet again. The last ban taken away by VP.
I'm drawing a big arrow towards the game. My thing where it was the last game that they played on Oregon. It was a 4-7. It's also worth noting in stage 1, this was where these two teams met, and it went 7-2 to Rogue then as well. They last took it against Rogue in the August Major way back when, so it was a 7-3 that they were able to take it. So Virtus.Pro has a history, but it's a little bit far away.
Good you point that out, though. Talking about faraway performances. And again, this is the regional league, so asterisks at the end, disclaimer, they might not have been playing properly, but the most recent game of Oregon from Rogue, and I hope I'm saying this correctly because it's a very hilarious name, was up against Sissy State Punks.
Yes.
Sissy State Punks.
Right, there you go. So Sissy State Punks, and they got
really
7.
Cool
they really
Actually,
do.
that is very
looking
true.
at it now, and I'm like,
I agree.
this is gorgeous. But Rogue got 7-5 on that map. So not good recent performance on it. I mean, again, not sure how they're playing. But then when they went up against Team Secret before that, also lost. So both of these teams don't have a good recent history on this map.
As you say, last time they played against one another in stage 1, it was wildly different. It was Rogue all the way up and Virtus.Pro all the way down. So we still don't know. As you mentioned just in the beginning, we're unsure of where to take this. So I'm wondering, what are some small things that these two teams need to do to fire off against one another before we get into the lobby as it is already?
Oh, I'm hoping bans. I'm hoping that there's some kind of ban that can just like kneecap one of these teams. I know for a fact, really aggressive there. I know for a fact that Virtus.Pro like to take a bit of Floris on Oregon. So I'm wondering whether or not that can be a ban that maybe Rogue can do, because Rogue don't necessarily take Floris on this map. We've seen it on other maps, but not so much on this map. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think the potential of what might shine today could be the back of house team for Rogue, is they have a very recent section of VODs to look over, and they have Meepy, one of the best sort of tactical minds that this game has generally seen. They have the potential to really play some counter-strats towards what was put together. Maybe they can punish the fact that we're not on Chalet. Maybe they'll sort of live with that, or maybe Virtus.Pro can sort of prove to us, okay, last week was shaky, and we're going to demonstrate why.
My predictions need this. This was my most unsure of the predictions of today. And I was like, do I pick VP? Do I pick Rogue? Rogue's had a really bad stage. So I went my statistical most likely, which is the roller coaster of Rogue. Remember, they lost and then they won and lost, and now it should be 1-1 again. So
we'll see how it ties together in this one. Virtus.Pro versus Rogue. What'll happen now in stage 2? Jess M, thank you so very much. It is time for us then to toss it to our casters. It's Oregon. It is Des and Ace. Have fun.
Thank you very much, Milosh. A bit of a scrap towards the bottom side of the table, especially as far as Rogue is concerned. They need a big win today, Ace. And when I think back to Rogue on this map, I remember them being the first team that managed to shut down BDS in stage 1 of last year with a perfectly built counter that Arkuth, all the players came out and said, our coach has done all the work here. He's gone and analysed everything they did and devised counters for it. They did a good job, but they are under different circumstances now. They need this win here, else they're one of those teams that once again has the stage 2 curse of last year come back to haunt them as they descend lower towards the bottom of the table.
This is it. Could be an extremely important matchup for both teams here, of course. You know, these, again, I always like to make this point, two teams that could be fighting over similar positions in the next few Playdays. So the head-to-head against each other could be massive. Of course, Rogue currently bottom of the table, Virtus.Pro in 7th, so not a million miles apart. If Rogue can put down a big 3-point win here, that gap will be dramatically closed. And like I say, once you come to that final Playday and decisions are being made, a head-to-head can be massive. Now, talking about massive, Des, we've got a big ban there coming in. Thermite going. That is not an everyday ban.
When was the last time you saw Thermite banned away on a map that isn't Clubhouse? Sometimes you see double heart breach taken away on that map, for example. Very commonly you'll see the Habana and the Maverick, but hey, Thermite on Clubhouse. On Oregon, sorry. I'm living for it. Time will tell. Thatcher, a much more common one coming in just after. Seeing this banned away pretty much all the time these days. I think the resurgence of the Mute and the Mozzie, a big reason for that. Next ban coming out from Virtus.Pro is going to be their defensive one. They'll take away something like the Mirror, I imagine. Okay, going to be the Wamai by them, which means on Rogue side, you may see that Mirror being banned away. The Russian teams do enjoy using it on the defense of this map.
Yeah, I think that'd be a smart choice from Rogue, but Valkyrie is obviously another popular option as well, but no, it will be the Mirror. Very powerful on Oregon, certainly has...
Imagine trying to push Freezer when there's a
exactly,
Mirror on that wall.
Certainly has some powerful positions. So Mirror will be gone. I'm going to head into round number 1 pretty shortly. We've got everybody loaded, locked and ready to go. The first site is going to be Dorms by the looks of it, so we'll be heading up to the top floor for Rogue's first defence. Now, they do have Valkyrie available to them. Not going to bring it along. There's some real killer cams that you can get on Oregon with Valkyrie, but for the time being, going to live without that information. Rip's bringing along the Aruni for those laser gates. Crying, there you go.
For the what, sorry, mate?
Man after my own heart.
For the laser gates, he says. Okay.
Old laser gates.
The Valk has come out. So lots of teams have been employing that, and maybe you wonder, well, why on this map, Des and Tim? You know, please tell us, why is it on this map in particular when you normally see it on something like a Consulate? Back in the old days, yeah, okay, she was super popular there, but nothing is more powerful than information in this game. As we've seen a couple of times, it nets some incredible C4s from the vertical angles from the defenders, for example, or just to let you know when someone is coming and pushing in, and it can sometimes force the attackers to have to adapt and bring something like an IQ to help sniff those out, because otherwise they can give you one hell of a headache.
Black eye cameras, 3 of them. Okay. Dorms, 1 in trophy, 1 in attic, 1 outside, watching the double window, and you've basically got... That's my trifecta anyway. You know, these guys might have them slightly... He could have watched me play ranked. He could have watched me play ranked, except if you do a little run out and aim up at the first point, you can get it right up to the top of that windmill. It's
Didn't you see his tweet earlier on, Crying's tweet?
I did not.
No, it was just like, if you tune into Ace of Pyro on Twitch, then you can learn all the best ways to put Valk cams. Yeah.
There you go.
I've only just remembered now that you said it. I can't believe it.
It's a killer cam. So what you can see from there, you can see the balcony that leads into master bedroom, and you can also see that double window. So you can give it a whole lot of information. You can actually see a big tower as well. So on an attic push, if they're trying to get on top of attic roof, cause you a few problems, again, it can be potentially very useful. Like I've said, we saw him stick one inside a trophy. Potentially, if one goes in attic, I'm going to argue for his third one. You've got so much vision of the potential attacking pushing lanes that it's unreal.
WTG with the starting kill coming out from Armory. Remember in APAC the other day? I think it was APAC anyway. It could have been EU. Honestly, at this point, they all blend together. We had a player playing on satellite with the Florist, throwing the drones through the satellite window to dodge around the mute jammers that were at, for example, the top of White, the ones that were out towards Armory. Yep, this window placed right here. Thank you very much, Mr. Observer. I don't know who you are right now, but I'm sure you're going to tell me in just a moment. It's Medics, as he tells me in that high-pitched voice that I love so much. Hi, Medics. So let's see then how this one plays out, and if it does turn into more satellite Roteros coming out, whether or not that will be the case. The Pasha right now, he's sitting quite happily on this Armory window, and will get a shield and an ADS for his trouble, seeing why exactly those Roteros are so popular and why Flores has got a more than stable place in the meta.
Certainly does. We've still got the laser gate in position for the time being, but that'll be burnt out nice and easily. Rask is going to get himself access into attic using the Maverick. He's got Mill on there with him as well. Look at that for an angle from Rips, just holding on to it. I think WTG just looking at that thinking, nah, he'd be too cheeky to peek that, but absolutely not ready. With the cheeky peek and finds the kill onto WTG. That's the Zofia gone. Pasha looking to push in on the Flores. Now going to get caught up in a little bit more utility. Rogue's defenders have absolutely stacked the master side with utility here, but Virtus.Pro have finally got themselves through it all now, and Kazeka is going to start opening up the master closet wall.
Yeah, no impact denial that we're really used to seeing.
No, that's what that was where my sentence was tailing off, because I was wondering how the mute was going to play that with the nitro.
He wasn't, mate, was the absolute answer for you to take away. Against an banner, I kind of understand it, and finally that angle that WTG opened earlier strikes true. They catch Crying to come up on the flank. A great nade coming in from Rask. That little rascal finding Rips out the bottom of attic, and now into a 4 versus 2. Virtus.Pro have got 15 seconds. We've said they've been slow a lot of the time, and now is the time to strike. Corey hanging up on White is in such a pivotal location. 1 or 2 bullets coming out, almost gets a double spray down, but finds nothing. Double or nothing, he walks away with nothing. Ras going in for the plant, and Karjeka will get that one stuck down as the clock hits 0. Corey in a 1 versus 4. I think we know how these rounds tend to play out here, Ace. If he got that double spray down, we could be having a very different conversation right now.
It was certainly a bit of a Hail Mary play at the end there from the top of White Stairs, and like you say, if it lands, then we're in a very different situation. But Karjeka, after getting that diffuser down, is going to find the final kill onto the head of Corey to close out the first round. Virtus.Pro lock down that attack of the Dorms, and I think I was particularly impressed with Virtus.Pro there, and the way they dealt with all that utility. There was no real concern from them. They've gone in there, they've just picked it apart one piece at a time to get themselves established inside a master bedroom, taking laser gates, shields, ADSs. You know, I think there was a proximity alarm in there. There was everything going on.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of it was being done in the early round by, I think it was Pasha who was playing on the Flores. Just, chucking them in one at a time, clearing out trophy, getting rid of barbed wire, anything that could impede them later into the round that, may not have been the easiest to clear out due to ADSs. They said, well, we've got a drone that goes boom. It's a boom bot. It's coming at you. You're not going to be able to deal with it. And showing just how impactful that Flores can be. Round 1 then to Virtus.Pro. Rogue are going to step into the downstairs and switch things out a little bit here. Got Crime moving across to playing on the Ella. Wonder if we'll see him playing off on the roam again, because by the looks of it, Virtus.Pro just had the perfect read on him. They knew when he was coming up Laundry Stairs, they had the vertical angle, and he was picked off as an absolute freebie for the attackers.
Oh, it was easy stuff, and it was well read by Virtus.Pro, well read and well prepared. Leon's going to get up there and just open up a rotation into Attic, which would suggest the likelihood of some play out on the roam, probably, as we've said, for the Ella of Cryin, who is out there at the moment. We've got Echo and Yokai drones being deployed inside of Freezer, so again suggesting that they're going to expect a little bit of attention coming in from that side. Now then, that's an interesting drone from Karjeka there. Could well have spotted out the Ella of Cryin. There's holes in that basket that you can see through. And
I tell you what, he might be going mad at me. Did you leave that drone in your jeans again when I put it through the wash? Should be losing the marbles.
You need to stop letting your mum do your washing for you.
Maybe 15 years ago, maybe not quite recently. Bless her.
You'll tell me anything. Right, round 2, here we are. 5 versus 5 still as Virtus.Pro, they begin their attack into the building proper. Rask is up there looking to get himself into T3, which is what we call the top level of the big tower. He's going to get in there, move all his way down, just make sure it's clear as he goes, and that's going to apply a little bit of rear stage pressure along with Pasha, who moves in. He might get himself a freebie here, and he does, as Aces tries to strafe for cross. Pasha ready and takes the head off the Jaeger.
So aggressive from Aces as well. Normally the idea there as a Jaeger is you kill a drone at the halfway point of those stairs, then you back down, hold Pillar or hold Shaiko, and now they don't have that control. It's going to be on the Echo of Rips to hold pretty much solo the whole time unless he can get some support, but you can see 2 or 3 members of Rogue facing down towards Laundry and Freezer because they've had a bit of a sniff, a little bit of a bite towards some aggression coming out of Virtus.Pro from that direction. You might see a member or 2 from Virtus.Pro look to move down now and attack the north now that they know this hold is a little bit thinner, and there it comes. Karjeka's moving out. They've got the Gemini coming in from the Iana. Everything's starting to square up. The question is, do Rogue read into this in time?
Pasha sending the Rotero in. Corey cannot make the shot, and it does manage to anchor, and that is going to take the shield down. So that's a big piece of utility now taken away from the smoke of Corey. It's going to make holding elbow that much harder. Pasha sends in the flashbang to begin with. That's just going to hide the approach of that next Rotero drone for him, hopefully, as Corey is likely to have just dipped away from that line of sight for the time being at least. The Echo of Rips is just holding down rear stage stairs at the minute. Corey forced back into sight. He's not going to take that final reinforcement onto the elbow wall just yet, so he may well dip back through and continue to challenge into bunker, but Rask comes as if from nowhere and gets a kill onto Rips. We've got a full white flash, then we've got VP just rushing in here like an angry tide, but Cryin manages to find one onto WTG.
I mean, the fact that you can drop through E-Box and just charge around a corner, pick up a kill, and then carry on with your charge onto blue is madness. Virtus.Pro showing that with that early kill, they knew where the weakness was in Rogue's setup, and they push hard. Twice now, Cryin has been dealt with on the roam for absolute free. And this should be another round for Virtus.Pro. 10 seconds to play. Corey finds one, but traded out by Pasha. Virtus.Pro are on one at the start of these Oregon attacks.
Yep, Rogue, they're getting beaten up at the minute, is the only way to put it. I mean, that says it all. I almost lost my composure, Des, as Raz just drops into E-Box, sprints round the corner, and just absolutely runs and guns. What a move from him to just pop the lid off what could have been a difficult jar of a defence there. He just managed to get it moving, no problem.
No real challenge at all. And, you know, it's not like so much that Rogue are making massive glaring mistakes here, right? They assumed the attack, and fairly so, was going to come on the south side of the map because Virtus.Pro, they were committing drones, there was flashbangs coming in, they were sending all the resources on that side of the map, except for one man who said, hey, the Jaeger's dead. They've only got one man holding pillar. Let's get ourselves up here, commit some frag grenades there, pushing through construction. Did all the right moves when you look at it, really. And for Virtus.Pro, it's that mid-round adaptation to abandon the original plan and move things up north instead. Really good adaptation on their side. And for Rogue, you're down 2. You don't want to bleed too many more here on your defensive Oregon.
Corey just deploying his shield out there again. It's going to be the same position this time around, playing on elbow. We've got that Valkyrie cam just going inside of what is an inaccessible area to operators there, but you can, if you get the angle right, just throw a Valkyrie cam in through the bars there, and it provides a lot of information about what's going on in and around pillar. I'm not sure where those other black eye cameras have been placed. The popular one is always inside a bunker to try and provide a bit of information. Another one for you to try, I always like to throw it on the bunker side of the barrels, so on the defender side, you know, the 2 barrels that are out there.
Yeah.
If you throw it on your side of those barrels down near the ground, never gets spotted, that one.
It's really hard to get caught out, to be fair, because who's going to try and walk through that double doorway and then turn around
Nobody
and look
looks
at the barrels?
backwards. Exactly that, but you
Don't
can
look back in anger.
an absolute ton of information in, so that's one that I like to use.
Absolutely understandable. Well, drone work coming in from shower side, at least with Pasha, being backed up by Karjeka, who, worth noting, has been improving throughout the stage. I know he had a really rough, torrid time in stage 1, but has been slowly warming into it. So far, though, today you're looking towards Rast, the man who has, you know, no restraint. He'll happily just bomb his way forward, try and take those early challenges, playing on something like the Maverick as well. Not really common to see that.
Not at all, no. Leon just getting onto those black eye cameras and giving a bit of information to his team. He's not going to pick anything up just yet. I don't think he spots anybody out there as Virtus.Pro. They're just positioning themselves, getting ready for the attack. We see the man, once again, Pasha, on those rear stage stairs, ready to get aggressive. He's going to send a Rotero drone down for the time being. Aces does not manage to take it out before it anchors, so that's going to clear the barbed wire away. But Aces on the Jaeger this time, as you suggested, Des, just playing it a little bit more cautiously. He's got himself down in that Shaiko spot, and he's going to hold on for a little bit longer this time.
Absolutely, no reason to press here. I know for Virtus.Pro, they don't mind these last 15-second attacks. And for the longest time, you'd say about attacking teams, why does it take you so long to get these kind of plays on the go? And that jammed out there at the last second, so it won't go off as well. You obviously can't destroy it now, so sit there and look at it. Corey, come on, man. You've played against these enough now to know that when they're completely locked up, you're not going to be able to destroy them. The dream state probably being that you remove the mute jammer and it goes off and destroys the shield anyway, but at that point, well, you've likely already got rid of the shield at the same time.
Corey just holding a tight angle now, getting aggressive, pushing his way right up there. As the drones come in, he does have to dip back because that just gives away his plan a little bit. But no, he's gone back up for this. He's definitely keen to take the challenge, and he gets the kill onto Pasha. What a move from Corey.
I mean, that's good to get a little bit aggressive there. We saw it not pay off for Aces in the prior round on the big tower stairs, but for Corey, it does pay off, and that's just how these gunfights go sometimes. Sometimes you whiff, sometimes you hit, and rounds can transform as a result. Aces still being alive here in Harry Potter, as we call it, under the stairs. There's one for you to remember. He's holding into a key spot. Down comes the grenade, removes both the Retiro and gets rid of the mute and the shield all in one blast.
Job done, and that will allow access now to push onto elbow, but Corey, with only 30 seconds left to go, will likely take an aggressive line there and just keep himself fighting now. We've got WTG and Rask looking to stack up and drop into E-Box. He's done it. WTG comes around the corner and once again finds that kill onto Aces. Corey finds one onto Karjeka, and this is going in both directions almost at the same time here. 4 versus 3. We find ourselves all in the advantage of Rogue as Virtus.Pro have got time ticking away, men ticking away as Corey finds one. WTG does get the trade, gets himself a second, but he's got to get in and get a diffuser down here. Can't be done. Time runs out, and Rogue, they're going to get their first round of the game.
I'm really surprised he didn't pick up the diffuser there and run for it to try and plant it somewhere, perhaps tucked in next to the shelving, just down towards the south side of supply. But felt now we're going for the press and try and get the kill. All on Corey. I know he got threatened earlier on, but that mute jammer doing absolute work to preserve the shield, leaving to the late frag to get rid of it. And ultimately, as they're compressing in, he finds himself a 3k inside of blue. Him bringing Karjeka down was the key in that that defense as well, because the team then had no time to recover the diffuser, get on site and commit the plant. It all kind of got a bit scrappy for Virtus.Pro, as it has done in previous weeks. Just goes to show sometimes one gunfight can completely change the outcome of a round.
Really can. We're going to be heading back up to dorms on the top floor in round number 4. We saw that back in round 1. Virtus.Pro with a great attack on there, able to get the diffuser down, really took apart the Rogue defence a piece at a time and got themselves established nicely and managed to get a few kills along the way. So Rogue, they're going to have to do things a little bit differently. Still a lot of utility going out inside a master bedroom. Mute jammers there that are just going to try to prevent access for those Rotero drones. I'm sure that's going to be the intention to begin with at least. But the problem there is it's going to have to be defended quite actively, by which I mean there's going to need to be a defender challenging onto that door, because if you want to gain access for your Roteros or for your normal drones, all you've got to do is pop your head round that corner. You're going to find that mute jammer and take it out. So probably on the angle that Rips is looking to play there, he's just opened up in attic. That's going to be very important to just try and hold that at bay, not allow them to poke their head through and clear out those mute jammers.
I like these cams as well. Whenever you see the kind of soft wall removed, so against the reinforcement, you can kind of nest the bulletproof cam inside. Makes it a bit more difficult to shoot from the side of it because it is dug in against that soft or plasterboard reinforcement next to the main reinforcement itself. Let's see though, Crying off on his roaming journey once again as being watched out by Milan. So I think here probably has the intuition to know that VP have had his number. Let's not forget the first 2 rounds in his roam attempts shut down completely by Virtus.Pro. So needs to be so cautious of all these different angles being watched. And he knows, I think, that Milan is lurking up towards the north side. Frag grenade coming in from Rask is starting to put some pressure onto the site itself, and they want this guy in the back. Great drop away there through the hatch for Corey to keep himself alive.
Got to do it, otherwise he would have been dicing with death as that explosive came in. We've still got the man downstairs Crying, as you say, needing to have a bigger impact on the roam, really, because so far it's not been so good for him. And if you're going to commit to having a man away from sight, you really do need to try and get something out of them. And primary focus, obviously, is wasting as much time as possible. And right now, Crying isn't really doing too much of that because he's not hassling the flanks. He's not letting them know that he's there.
Karjek is sat watching Classroom, by the way, in case you're curious, in case you were to find Crying rotate below with the C4. They know that he's on the Valkyrie. They know what he wants to do here. If they want to try and get this game wall opened up, Crying is going to be the one to try and stop them with a C4. So it's good coverage coming out from Virtus.Pro, but now this wall is opened up, or it was always left open in this case. In fact, Rogue have left it soft and broken up the right-hand side so they can get cheeky and contest out there if they want to. Something we saw inside APAC North a couple of times this week, and now Corey has managed to get himself back upstairs after the initial drop, back inside of Kids, and ready to challenge once again.
Crying then at the bottom of those freezer stairs, just moving his way up his mill on the white stairs. So there could be a problem here if Crying moves quickly, but he's not moved quickly enough as Milon finds the opener onto Aces. Leon Gids manages to get one. Crying finally makes that impact that we've been waiting for with a kill onto Milon. 4 versus 3 for Rogue here, but Virtus.Pro are looking to push in. Pasha deep inside dorms there, might have an opportunity to get the diffuser down. He's just very conscious of the man that is playing inside of Kids' dorms. That is now 3 versus 3 as Kajeka gets one for himself to level things up. Sprayed down from underneath. Crying, big impact on the roam. This is what we wanted to see. Kajeka goes in to make the challenge, but shut down as Crying gets his 3rd. What a round for the Valkyrie.
The roam stings, burns. It's the only way I can describe it. Beautiful stuff coming out of Crying. For Virtus.Pro, you'll always ask the question there, okay, it's all good watching Classroom, but if the man's hanging around in the lower basement, he's hanging around in Freezer, crawling his way up the stairs, is there no flank drone to watch him coming from there towards Showers, for example? Is there no attempt to have 2 or 3 players pinch onto him in rapid time and crush him? Apparently not there. Virtus.Pro happy to be a little bit more passive, and Milan thought for the while, well, I'll keep an eye on him, but I know that my focus is the site and they paid the price later in the round. Can't imagine they'll let him get away with that one again for free. That much is for sure. Now we're going to find ourselves going to Kitchen and Dining. We've seen a good balance of these 2 sites, actually. Kitchen Dining and Kitchen Meeting. I've seen a pretty fair split across some teams, some even preferring to go to Kitchen and Meeting. So keen to see what Rogue's take on this is going to be. Normally for the attackers, you want to get yourself inside a small tower, open up the wall into Showers, for example, or even look to try and get control of Kids by coming in from attic side. Defenders, no doubt, will stick someone upstairs. As we see on so many sites inside a siege, that vertical hold can waste so much time, and when Virtus.Pro have been as slow as they have, it makes complete sense.
Hole's just opened up to allow a challenge from underneath onto that window, potentially. Rip's just put in some gadgetry down as well. It's just exactly the same thought going through my mind at the same time.
That magical caster word.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if anyone out there wants to be a caster, just get that one word into your vocabulary. Interesting, because whether it's bad or good, you can just say that's interesting.
Always interesting.
That's interesting, isn't it, Ace? Yeah, and you can just fluff it.
Couple of ADSs up at the top of the small tower stairs, deployable shield as well. So I would imagine that we're going to see a defender up there. But yeah, it's the ADS just inside of the wing. It's one of those cheeky ADSs that is probably just going to catch them out when they try to throw a grenade up there to take out that shield that the drone will likely see. It's one that the ADS, they might not pick up on that ADS just inside the window there. You don't expect it to be there, and then yep, we're ready to go for the nade. In goes the nade. Oh, it's just, what's it been caught back? And it's the ADS that you didn't spot out. So see how that one goes.
Little drone party there outside the drone hole as well. One being recovered and taken away from its friend. It's like collecting a kid from daycare. Ooh, Karjeka. Almost collecting one onto the big tower window. So often see that long angle contested, and you're always nervous when defenders take those fights because of the range and knowing the attackers have got those scopes. But like two ships in the night, the bullets pass each other. No one falling victim to any gunfights, at least initially. You got Leon holding up inside a small tower, so this is quite cheeky in a way, actually, where they're trying to get, quite aggressive on the defense of this and say, you want to come and get it, well, you're going to have to fight for it because there's two of us looking to hold this area.
Rotero drone clears out the deployable shield, but as you say, with Crying there in support as well, that's two ADSs going. Out comes the Nitro. What a beautiful view we just had of that huge triple from Leon with the Nitro, and then he goes deeper and gets himself a headshot for the fourth. He's screaming in the camera. He knows what he's done. Unbelievable. What a play with the Nitro.
I just saw it singing and I was like, no, there's three of them outside there, and then all three blue outlines disappear at once. Oh, well, orange outlines in this case. Beautiful from Leon. He knows what he's doing. He said three. Peak performance, that one. That's the kind of stuff you want to net. And normally it's so dangerous to assault into small tower when the defenders are there, because you'll have the frost mats down on each window. You'll have the shield position, you'll have ADSs there. They really dug themselves in because, like we said at round start, attackers want to get themselves inside of there to open shower wall, contest the angle, protect the vertical, for example, if you want to go for a plant just inside of dining. But my God, Rogue don't give them an inch. Instead, take their entire lives. Three of them with a single C4 and a flawless round to boot, Ace.
It's one of those plays that you really can't bank on, Des. You can't plan on that being the case.
I don't know about you, mate. I knew Leon would do that.
I'm sure
just
you
do
do.
It.
The stars have to align for those players to come out. We get the odd double Nitro kill, but to hit a triple like that on a single window, I mean, you've got to ask questions of Virtus.Pro. You've always got to be careful in those situations. You're outside a single window. Why are you stacking up so close?
See it again, you ready? Because this is where Cryon kind of thought, oh God, I might get shot out here. And there it is. Watch it sing. And I just saw all three of those lines. I was like, surely, I thought the guy at the back might be too far away. But nah. Boom!
Nothing they could do. Like I said, you're very close to each other on a single window there. There's only so many angles that can be attacked from a single window. And I'll tell you, the answer isn't three, generally speaking. You're asking for team kills. You're asking for problems. So three all stacked up there. Maybe they were asking for a little bit of what they got from Leon as he dished out the death with the Nitro. But we come into round number 6 then, 3-2 in favour of Rogue, and it's been a bit of a switcheroo for them, really, winning the last 3 rounds in a row. They came out with two very strong Virtus.Pro attacks, but Virtus.Pro unable to get anything going since then. Rogue seem to have all the answers, whether it needs a little bit of luck in there or not. They are certainly turning out rounds and putting them on the board.
Yeah, it's been the enablement, I think, by Virtus.Pro, interestingly, to enable Rogue to play the way they have. We mentioned about Cryon and his freezer roam. In the prior rounds, they had his number every single time. The angles were always watched. There were drones on him. They knew what his movements were. But a couple of rounds now, stung by him. And then, of course, the previous round, as you mentioned, it's not every day you can count on a triple C4 kill coming out. It's one of those where you know that you need the small tower and just did not expect Rogue to get that aggressive with a C4. And it stung them for it. Love this mute jammer, by the way. It's the only thing I think I know about this map that I'm like, yeah, I can catch him with that one.
It's one that you don't see as much as you used to anymore. Obviously, on the old Oregon,
on the table, right?
The main table unit was absolutely stock standard. You got your mute jammer on there, but nice to see the adaptation of that still being used, and it's just on the little washing machine in the corner there, and it's going to jam out that hatch for the time being. Crying Just using those black eye cameras again, just to try and gather information around that critical area of pillars. Now, in comes another Rotero drone. Once they start, they cannot be stopped. That one could be shot out because it hadn't anchored, Des. That's an important one to point out. So just because they get caught in a mute jammer doesn't mean they can't be shot out. It's if they're anchored beforehand.
Nakeland singing in here, trying to get rid of that ADS, and go it shall. Crying got the long angle through the soft wall. Ace is playing in Shaiko, so they have the crucial spots they need to defend this north side. Notice as well how you don't see Aces getting hyper-aggressive in either of the 2 rounds they've been down here since the first. When he got caught on this push-up here onto Milan back in the first round, that was the key to unlock Virtus.Pro's attack, whereas now, a little more passive, making them sweat for it and work through the clock, because they've got 40 seconds still to play with. Aces back into Harry Potter as Milan steps out on the swing, Crying to strike first onto Rask, and there comes Crying, a big 2K coming out as Milan also collected. Rogue really warmed up into this game. WTG taking his spot. Crying hits the triple. A 5v1. Is it another flawless round coming out as Pasha, the last man, the sole survivor, got it all to do to keep the dreams alive for Virtus.Pro in round number 6. But it looks like in a 5 versus 1, this one's going to the graveyard.
Ever since we said back in round 4 that we just wanted a little bit more out of that Crying roam, he really has put the pedal to the metal there.
What are they doing?
Crying currently finding himself sat on 8 kills there and doing fantastically well for his team. He's had a triple
Leon?
inside the round, and Rogue are cruising at the minute.
I really hope that was Leon's C4 that came. Can we get that in a replay, please? Actually, I'd love to see exactly what came out there. They're all giggling about it, so I know it was a bit of a laugh. You know what that is? That's payback to Corey for all of his years of service, TK and his teammates.
It certainly is.
That's absolutely 8. Screw you.
Crying got the last kill as well, 9 and 2 now, and that's all, not all, but a large majority is from round 4 onwards, when we said he'd not quite had the impact on the roam up to that point, but then he had that big round with the Valkyrie. I think he got 3 kills in that round. He's just had 4 kills in the last, so 7 kills at least since round 4. He really has just absolutely started to show up now inside of this game, and Virtus.Pro, they don't have an answer for Crying at the minute.
No, they don't. And again, I was really nervous when it was sat at 4 and 2. I thought we'd see Virtus.Pro, sorry, 4 and 2, at 2 and 0. I was writing down 4 and 2 at the time I was saying that. Don't try and write and speak at the same time, kids. It's dangerous. 2 and 0. I honestly thought they would carry on running away with that first half, but Rogue really did wake up. Crying again, a monster on the roams. Excellent pairs holding off inside a small tower. But now we get to see what Virtus.Pro can do on their defense. And although it's been a fantastic, jubilant end to the first half of Rogue, this is where I get a little bit nervous, because where they have struggled on attack has been their coordination. This is that C4 attempt that came out. Who was it from? Was it Leon? Yeah, it was. Look at him. He's squaring up. There it is. Rip it. Throw it. Hey, Corey, you're a needed sacrifice, buddy.
I mean, it goes nowhere near, really, does it?
It kind of does. C4, someone was moaning about this. I don't forget which player it was. There's a pro player that was saying the radius on the C4s now is absolutely ludicrous. Like, you could throw a C4 into a massive room and kill everyone in there. And we saw Leon's 3K to back that kind of evidence up. But they are a little bit nuts now, especially for team killing. Shame it wasn't the final kill onto Corey, but...
Well, that's it. I mean, it was only a down but not out, really.
That's,
he's not actually put the death on the board.
No, exactly. So it's all a bit of fun and games. But again, nervous a little bit for Rogue. Their attacks, when it comes to coordination and synergy as a team, haven't really been there. Lots of solo pushes, lots of mistimed step into the room to take challenges with no one there for a trade, for example. That's going to be the big thing I'm looking for in this half, is can they attack as a team, because that is what has been lacking throughout most of the stage.
Right, this could be dangerous. So Rogue have droned out Rask. They know he's on that top floor, and they're outside double window ready to push in. Pasha is playing underneath with an angle onto that double window, waiting for somebody to hop in. Now then, I was going to say, is it the 200 IQ play, but it's not. I thought Crying was aware of Pasha underneath, but it's Rask that's aware of Corey. Finds his headshot. Aces manages to get a kill, but that's traded out by Pasha underneath. That Rogue have failed to find. Now then, they do find themselves 3 versus 4 behind, as the kills have not gone in their favour completely so far. And Milan, he's looking to potentially aggress up these race stage stairs as well. He's going to hold his line for the time being. I think he's aware that Leon's looking to drop down from Attic, and again, they're just going to get caught out here. Des, the drone in, he's maybe just not thorough enough.
This has been so aggressive coming out from Virtus.Pro. I love it, where they've had 2 kills coming on the top floor. When Rask was up there first, the C4s from security came out. Now Milan's contesting inside a big tower. They're just looking to give them headaches constantly, and inside a meeting, it's a similar sort of story. It's not quite the full 3-floor hold coming out, and there it is. Pasha with a shotgun to the face of Leon as he rounds the corner. Rogue shut down before they can even think about looking at the site.
Crying's got himself established at the bottom of Freezer there. Has a little look in towards site, but Virtus.Pro are in no need or position to start peeking here. There's just Absolutely no requirement for them to do that at 4 versus 2. They'll quite happily watch the sand run through the hourglass here as the seconds tick away, and Rogue will become increasingly more desperate to try and get themselves established inside of sight. It all comes down to Crying and Rips. They do have the hatch open into electrical, which is at least 1 point to the credit. They have to burn out the laser gate, which is likely going to give a bit of an audio cue to let Virtus.Pro know where this pair is coming from. They are working very much together back to back here. Crying, moving down those rear stage stairs. Milon, he hears he's going to move across, gets aggressive. What a shot across the top of the handrail. Gets himself a second. That's both closed out by Milon, and that is great play from Pillars.
Is that 3k for Milon in the round as well?
Oh, Pasha got one. Rask got one.
2.
Oh, then no, it's not.
No, just 2k then, fair enough. Wanted it for my notes. But I hold in there. I mean, that was one of those rounds that was kind of over before it really got started, right? 3 kills off and around the map, and you touched on it there as well. The droning. I spoke about that synergy before the round got underway. Little things there like supporting yourself. If you want to try and get yourself down into big tower, ideally you want someone droning ahead of you. That's why so often you see Jaegers holding halfway up the stairs and killing drones as they come rolling around the corner. Just a free way of removing a little bit of information. But for Rogue, it was lacking, admittedly. Hard to have it when you lose 2 members so early on. The Flores didn't even get to use a Retiro in that round, I think, either. It was dead so early on Aces. And again, to shut down, not really a viable attempt at pulling off an attack. So give them benefit of the doubt. Virtus.Pro caught them there with a little slide one. Let's see if they can do anything different on the top floor. As we head up to there, that Valkyrie onside for Rask, as we spoke about back in the first half. You'll see a few of those thrown outside the map base to feed some juicy information back and forth.
I expect we will. We're having them deployed inside of the master bedroom as well, just to feed information on any push that comes in from that direction. But it was, as you said, for Rogue, I think, you know, what needs to improve here in round 8 is the droning and the synergy reaction to it. You know, it's, as we said, they weren't fully aware of Pasha underneath. He managed to get himself a nitro. They weren't fully aware of the man at the bottom of rear stage stairs. It just felt very solo at times. It was just sort of trying to hold an angle and see if anybody moved across it rather than droning in and actively following it.
So again, what keep my eye on throughout the whole half is Rogue's team play, so we'll see if it benefits any different in this round. Rask holding out inside a small tower. Not sure if he's quite fancying himself to be the next Leon Gids with a 3k C4, or whether or not Rogue will even give them that kind of opportunity. Looks to like he might back himself away here and look to rejoin the team very shortly. For Rogue, you've got Liam pushing in through the south side. Commonly, you'll see an Iana pushing by themselves because they've got the Gon 6, they've got the frag grenades, they've got the Gemini, more importantly. They can do a lot by themselves is the way that you look at it, but at least for now, helping his team in pushing in towards Trophy so they can get control of Game Wall, get control of Trophy, and then start thinking about what their execute looks like.
Ace is established in the closet. Just looking to take a bit more utility. He obviously sees something. Now, Pasha looking to get, I was going to say aggressive. I thought the breach had been opened there with one of the explosions, but it hasn't as of yet. Rips is just still holding himself outside with the ace. He hasn't applied any Selma charges in there just yet. They're still convinced that there's more utility to be taken out. Rask moving around from underneath. It was something that they were very aware of themselves when defending this site. Now, Rask, he's just going to hold himself inside of security for the time being, and you pointed it out, Des. There is an opportunity for a nitro from Classroom, and I'm not sure that that's something that Rogue are watching out for at the minute.
I mean, depends whether or not Rask can get there. I mean, that's a cheeky drone, by the way. The one up here on top of the lamppost. They'll see lamppost on top of the light. Sorry, they'll see if they come running up Zulu and try and make for that play. So while it was Karjeka watching it from the rappel outside the Classroom window in the prior round, this one's going to be all about that drone. And you've also got Crying there, ready to challenge if someone does get particularly cheeky. There it is.
There it is. He sees the nitro come out. Rask, he can't get it quick enough as Crying tries to take it out, but the kill comes in onto Ace. As if you're going to have the watch underneath, you got to stop the nitro. But unfortunately, could not make it this time. Rips looks to moving. Takes the challenge onto the Maestro. He's unlucky there not to find the head, but he will manage to get the down onto Milon this time around, leaving us effectively 4 versus 4 with 45 seconds left to go.
Question is, can anyone get him up here? He's managed to get himself into the back corner, so should be okay. No one's on trophy right now. Not that they know that, of course, but this should be a safe res onto Milan. Backup is going to be the Alder is back online. What damage can it do? Rask at the bottom of window. That reminds me so much of Sloth from Kavana in Challenger League. It is ludicrous. Running around green, running up to windows, taking pot shots, and taking names. 2 in the round.
Crane looking to get himself up white stairs here and maybe have a little bit of a flank opportunity. Does get himself a kill onto Kajeka, but Rask comes in with an absolutely critical kill. And another for himself to close out the round. WTG gets in on the party as well. Virtus.Pro closing out their second successful defence, and they've got themselves caught up now. It's 4-4, and Rogue, they've got to start wondering where these attacks might come from.
Again, it's what I was worried about. It's the same issue striking them as what hit VP a couple of times in the first half, is that pesky roaming Valkyrie. You've got to be so mindful of her C4s coming out. We saw the first one coming in onto Trophy, runs up to green, finds another, runs down shower towards white and finds the trade for his team. Big round for Rask, a player that not so much I've criticised in the past, but I've always said, he seems to be the quieter of the front three in this team that I normally get so excited about. Pasha, Milan and Rask on their day are absolutely phenomenal. And I've been saying it all year, well, for the last 18 months now, it feels like. When all three of them turn up on the same day, VP are almost unstoppable. And they've kind of struggled to find that form. Pasha currently one of the bottom-rated players in all of VUL, which is so weird to say, because I think it was the November Major. He was like dragging his team through solo maps against teams like BDS, and they were like, oh my god, this guy's impossible to stop. He's dropping like 18 kills a map. And then he's kind of been quiet so far in 2021. And in this game, sure, not absolutely massive, but at least not kind of completely falling off the face of the earth. It is turning into a bit of a team effort for everyone on Virtus.Pro, which is always great to see.
It is. Rogue really need to stop the procession that is this Virtus.Pro defence at the minute, just rolling out one successful round after another. If they get this one, it will be a full rotation of the 3 sites that they need to use before they head themselves back down to Laundry and just try to rinse and repeat. Going to have an approach directly into small tower, so usually you'll maybe find attacking teams wanting to get top floor control as well. They need to be certain that the defenders aren't active in the dorms area, particularly because plant attempts can be denied from up there. But for the time being, Rogue are focusing on getting themselves into the top floor of the small tower, move down, get control of that whole area, and then start thinking about getting the wall opened up, as you see from small office there through, as it's actually half open already. The job's been half done for them, but they'll try and get a plant down somewhere inside of that wall or the single door, but top floor control could be important to allow them to do it.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen a couple of heroic plays from inside a shower, normally with the mirror window to pair it off. And they really want to force this Maestro out of here, burning out the wall. The Outer could sing, but no, Cryan sings faster. Great team play coming out from Rogue there. One burning the hole open, and Cryan was watching the angle in case he was there, and you even saw the yellow ping to let them know that he was close. A real 3-man effort to remove the beast of shower that was Pasha.
WTG, however, finds one onto Corey. Rask comes in with a big double and a big game for him so far, as he just seems to keep stepping up at essential moments. 11-6 he is, as he gets downed and finished by Leon Gids, leaving us now 2 versus 2 with an age left on the clock. Leon taking some huge shots through an angle all the way from kitchen, through soft wall in shower, through soft wall from shower into small office. What an angle, what a line of sight that was onto the Iana.
And now in the 2 versus 2, you were right, there was bucket loads of time left. 1.5 minutes still to play with. God, they can do so much with that. Milan saved out by the ADS. It's positioned right in front of his wall. So, as it starts boiling down towards the final 60 seconds, it's where you start asking the question of Rogue. All right, time is going to become your enemy here. As they step through a battlefield, a graveyard of icons. You just see how littered showers are in death at this point. But at this point, they've got to start making the push happen. 45 seconds still to play with. They have an idea of where they are, but no drones left means this is going to be a straight push in. Milan wins the 1v1 with Leon. 2 versus 1. Aces with it all to do. 2 kills to his name so far. 2 more would make a sweet round number 9.
Aces trying to get that diffuser down. 30 seconds left to go. Just baits out the player from kitchen, trying to get rid of that utility. Successfully so for the time being, but clock is ticking, and time is his most important commodity at the minute, as he's down to 18 seconds, and he's going to have to make a move soon. Virtus.Pro, they're just trying to force the plant here because they know Now that's a big kill. That
Imagine.
brings us back to a 1 versus 1 for Aces. It's all down to this. Milan holds the angle and finds him. He knew exactly where he was coming from at that point. He didn't have time to rotate anywhere else. So if anything, the kill that he got in security was probably his own undoing.
Ever so slightly, yeah. I mean, for Milan, I was like, just why take the fight? Just rotate out. You know where he's coming from. Let him try and play for the plant if you want and then deny him afterwards. But taking that 1v1, Aces already hit a pretty slick shot when he walked around into security and made me nervous. But they walk away, the winner there as well. What's that, 5 rounds on the bounce? Not 5, sorry, 4.
It's 4 rounds. No, 3 for VP.
Honestly,
3 defensive rounds for
Can't count. Saved me life. Tactical time being called in here makes sense for Rogue at least as well, because now we've done the full rotation of sites. They've seen all 3. They know, no doubt, what those issues are. And sadly, I don't think it's an issue you can easily discuss out, because Rask, the man's on a mad one
How
today.
do you solve a problem like Rask?
How do you solve a player? It's not really a solvable puzzle.
Exactly not. And I mean, Rask, like you say, he's just... The thing with Rask is his kills are coming at critical times.
Yes.
It's just at a point where you feel like the round is just in the balance, and then bang, Rask double kill. And all of a sudden, it's all in the hands of Virtus.Pro.
Shower corridor in that case, right? They had the 2 kills, and they were like, great, Showers controls ours. We've got shower corridor. Oh, Rash just killed 2 of us. The wind's taken out of our sails. We had a minute and a half to play with, and now we're stuck in a 2 versus 2. Unfortunate. VP then 1 point away from stepping into match point, 2 from the victory, and all 3 points would be well welcomed. I spoke about how this was kind of a lower table scrap at this point. It's not strictly that they are both at the very bottom of the table. Rogue are. They're going to stay in 10th if they lose this game. But for Virtus.Pro, after that 0-2 start to the season, a rocky performance or 2 along the way, they've still got some climbing to do. And they are one of those teams that, infuriatingly, always find a way to crawl into the top 4 at the dying moment. They've done it time and time again over the last 18 months. And with this kind of performance, you just don't know what's going to come in the next couple of Playdays.
You really don't. Rask on the Goyo this time. Last time around, Rogue struggled on the attack here because they lost a couple of men, if I remember rightly, trying to clear out the top floor roam to begin with. They lost one to Pasha, who hit them with a nitro, and then there was a second loss to a gunfight up there on the top floor as well, and it just left them a little bit short-handed. They ended up trying to push site with only 2 men by the time it had really come down to it. Crying and Rips were the last alive, and there was very little that they could do. So for me, this is where we can see that direct contrast for Rogue. You know, the drone information wasn't really hot enough last time they attacked onto this site. So let's see it a little bit better. Get in there, clear out Rask, clear out Pasha, recognise where they are, and go in mob-handed. Get them shut down, catch them in pinchers. Don't allow them to come away with kills and time wasted.
Rask being taking the challenge that we so often see from teams standing on the dining room door, and as soon as you've had a challenge, you can back away quite safely. At least so you would assume, but that dining wall is soft. He might get himself caught on the back, rotate out from the window if he's not careful. Finds the opening kill all the way deep inside a dining too. That was through that rotate that I mentioned. And now we'll just walk away gleefully, giggling to himself like a child that has just robbed from a sweet shop with the 1 kill in the round coming in onto Crying, who was the terror of the first half.
A lot of utility gone there as well, losing the Zephyr on the side of Rogue. So you've lost 2 impact grenades from the launcher. You've lost 2 concussive grenades out of that launcher as well. It's just not a good position to be in for that entry loss. Now Corey flashing out freezer stairs. He's going to go in and get that security hatch to just try and force any players, because arguably you could have somebody playing aggressively on the bottom of these stairs, for example. By opening up that hatch, just forces those defenders deeper, or even potentially all the way out of freezer, although it looks for the time being like Virtus.Pro are trying to hold this quite aggressively.
Just a little bit. I mean, why wouldn't you? You saw how much it stretched Rogue last time round. Why not try and go for a similar sort of thing? That said, the majority of them are currently sat on site, just scurrying around like ants in their nest, just going to get themselves set up, waiting to figure out where it is that Rogue are going to come pushing from. A lot of presence in towards Highway and down towards Laundry and Supply, so they're ready for this push coming in from Rogue. They are committing everything towards the south side. No one currently up towards Big Tower, so this should be relatively comfortable for the side of Virtus.Pro to defend.
Clearing out the mute jammer just to give him the opportunity to open up that laundry hatch that we saw. You know, is difficult. If that mute jammer's there, it's not possible, and it just allows these long lines of sight, particularly to play onto the man who's trying to hold the A-bomb spot.
Oh,
but Rask once again gets aggressive right up underneath that hatch, showing that the angles work both ways, gets himself a kill, and that now leaves us 5 versus 3, and Virtus.Pro, they are locking down the laundry.
That's such a crucial kill as well, because Ras was definitely going to get killed by that frag coming in just a couple of seconds later. No ADS is present, but now they remove yet another man, remove the last frag as well that Leon would have had in his back pocket. That's pivotal. Rips, bringing one back. Is it going to be enough with only 30 seconds to play? Not so sure.
looking to get that electrical hatch open. That's now successful, but the attention turns once again to the laundry stairs. Rask still holding down that angle. Corey moves himself out to Freezer, so even short-handed, they are really trying to get themselves a multifaceted approach here. But Rask, he won't even be moved by a Rotero, Des. He steps out and gets a kill. That's the ace for Rask. It's been brewing, it's been coming for a while, and Rask steps up and proves why he is really in charge here on Oregon.
He's having a field day. First half, a little bit quiet at points. Second, though, the man has absolutely taken off. That's the kind of round you want to see. I think he's on 17 kills after that now. Someone must have phoned him up and said, yeah, Shaiko's had an agency to play well today. It's your turn to step. Okay, 16 kills. We had the one at the start of that round. But clearly not letting Shaiko have all the glory on this play day. He goes, right, I've heard that Shaiko's going to be in 2, 3, maybe 4 of those top 5 plays. I want in. And that is absolutely going to be one of the ones that we look back on and just say, wow. At least one, the peak coming out onto the nade holder on the front door hatch. The second, being able to step out as he did and ping the guy trying to push through the laser gate and then swinging onto Freezer as they were occupied with Deep Fury Freeze. Beautiful.
Heading up to the top floor then for what could potentially be Virtus.Pro's final defense. Rogue yet to have a successful attack here on Oregon. It's been a tough second half for them, and Rask certainly hasn't made it any more comfortable, that much we can say. I mean, just thinking back over that ace, there were 2 kills in particular. The one onto the hatch underneath, absolutely beautiful. As you say, that nade is going to kill him without a doubt, but he gets the kill before it happens. And then the Rotero for me. Oh. The Rotero is there. And look
this was the one for me. This is the real beauty.
It's yeah, this is what I mean. So he steps himself back, knowing that he can just tank some of that damage, knowing it's not close enough to kill him, but knowing that Rogue are going to be confident that they've forced him to move, that they've disrupted him. Absolutely not. I'm just going to hold it back. I'm going to step forward, and then I'm going to take your head off when you try to push me. Not only is it big brain, in fact, right, I can take this damage, that's fine, it's not going to down me. It's also, and I know you're going to follow it straight in, and I'm going to punish you.
And rightly so, because that's the whole point of the Roteros, right? It's
absolutely beautiful.
Very much so a multi-use gadget, but in that case, the defender is not likely going to be forced to... No way. No way. As
Ras does what he wants.
He's like, oh, there's a drone. Oh, and there's a player he can die to. Yeah, just casually take him out. He will go down here as Corey finds a 2K. However, the starter, the damage came out. That is the ace being removed. One of those critical hard breaches taken away. But now that the demon that is Rask is off the board, can they do it? Can they take down these last 3 members?
Crying just sat outside a small tower window for the time being. I think that's maybe Rogue just having a little think about exactly how they approach this and waiting for maybe a bit of information to come in. Yes, Aces is on the drone ahead of him now, but a minute into the round, still drawn in small tower when you're trying to get inside for a push towards dorms. You know, you've got to start questioning that time there. Leon just assisting in big tower to get that attic open. That's going to allow a little bit of access, but nearly halfway through the round, Des, and Cryan's still not in the building. He's obviously going to look for the white stairs push. It could be pivotal to the round. But if we get to a point whereby Rogue are struggling for time, let's not forget that.
It reminds me of the whole utopia meme, what human society could be like, and this is one of these, what the rounds could be like if Rask is dead, because they know he's not going to come and flank them later into the round on the Valkyrie. Let's not forget, for example, his C4 onto Trophy, the rotate into green, then going down Shower Corridor and getting himself a 3K. That's not going to happen unless someone else wants to step up and take that responsibility. And no offense to Karjeka, not exactly fragging out in this game, so not the guy that you worried about achieving something like that. The other two, a little bit more passive in their setup. Contesting now in towards highways. There is one trying to push down from Atip. Milan taking the head off of Aces as he tries to push onto the game window. 3 versus 3 then, Ace, and 50 seconds to play.
Who knew other people on Virtus.Pro could get kills? When Ras stops killing everybody, other people have the opportunity to get some, and Milan takes it, getting himself on and leveling things up. Karjeka aware of the man in attic there, just being pinged out, I think.
Black eye somewhere, surely.
Yellow ping there is just feeding him the information. He's just waiting for that challenge. He's just waiting for his perfect moment here. The thing is, there's no need to take this too soon. 30 seconds left to go, and Rogue have to make a move. They're the ones who have to get the diffuser down here. So just announcing that he may maybe pushing forward there, and that could be a problem for Corey as Kazeka steps onto the door and takes a few shots, just holding him back. Leon's going to have to get himself in through double window and does so. 30 seconds left to go. Kazeka down. This is looking good for Rogue. It could be a first successful attack. But
Milon!
No, it's Milon on the outer. Turns it around. 10 seconds left to go. 1 versus 1. Milon low health. Corey looking. Does he know that he's hard right at the door? Yes, he does! Corey goes in. What a wonderful pre-fire to find the man, take down the maestro, and to keep Rogue fighting.
They have needed that round so badly because throughout this entire half, 4 in a row have gone the way of Virtus.Pro. For Rogue, that is a much-needed first attacking win, but it needs to now roll over into another. Round number 12. This is the time to take it, boys. Another top-floor defence. Clearly, the side of Virtus.Pro feeling confident there. They thought that defence was good, and it looked it for the longest time. I mean, Milon getting that double kill towards the back end of it, only for Corey to go on to win the 1v1. You can't get much closer than that.
Rask is still going to be feeling that opportunity for a 20-kill game here as each round keeps going. I'm sure he won't want an extra one after this one. 7-5 will be quite enough for him. If he doesn't get the 20, I'm sure he'd rather have the win instead rather than going to overtime. They'll be wanting to clear up a nice solid 3 points here. It'll only be 2, of course, if they do go into overtime and win it there. So they won't want to be giving away any of their spoils. We're, as you say, back up on the top floor again. No major differences here. Rask, one to watch out for, but will Rogue have his number this time? I mean, he got aggressive at the beginning last time, opened us up with the kill onto Rips, but he's not going to get away with that again, surely.
You'd hope not, but we've seen constantly Rask doing what Rask does best, is getting out in the map and causing chaos. And for the first time ever, he was shut down, of course, in that previous round by Corey. That's what you're looking to happen again. Get him off the map nice and early. And I was curious to know who VP have got, because as you can see in the top right, if they win this game and take all 3 points, they move to 5th. That is very, very close to top 4 contention and, of course, the spot at the Mexico Major. They have currently got to play on the next Playday at the very least. They come up against Empire, the Russian showdown. That's going to be spicy. Yep. Playday 8, they play against BDS. Not the best. You wouldn't really want to have that one. And their final game is against Untitled, who you would kind of coin them to beat, to be honest. So I think a result against Empire or a result against BDS and, of course, a win today would be enough to secure them top 4.
Well, it just raises the stakes on that Russian throwdown, doesn't it? On that derby game with Empire, because, as you say, a good win there, and then they're thinking, right, that's maybe 6 points if we count the Untitled win as well. Not only that, but Empire are going to be a direct competitor for those top 4 spaces as well, more than likely.
It's so tight.
It really is. I can't sort of overemphasize how important the Virtus.Pro Empire game could be in the overall Mexico major stakes and for who goes and who doesn't. I mean, both may make it, but that game could be a huge deciding factor. We're a minute inside of the round here. It is going to be our final regulation time round. Rogue building a very similar attack to the one we saw last time, where Corey ended up ultimately pushing through at it. They've opened up a small hole at the top there to allow a nade in, clear off the mute jammer, and should allow access.
Yeah, quite cosily getting themselves inside there as well, so that'll be easy to push through. But now again, I'm always worried about the roamers. I'm always worried about Rask, as I'm sure Rogue are as well. Drone's coming in to try and find out exactly where he's lurking. Now they know it's towards Garage. The thing is, he's kind of pinned in here. They should really get 1 or 2 members to now be watching this, because he can't run out here without taking an engagement onto the front door. This is the prime time to shut down the roamer.
Rask needs to get himself down these stairs, really. I mean, with the way his day is going, he could potentially just swing this and have a go. He'd probably get himself a kill or 2. He seems to have done so far. But no, as I suggested, he needs to get himself underneath the map, rotate away, maybe back up rear stage stairs, maybe back up freezer stairs, and just come from another angle. His main job is keep hassling this team. Don't allow them to settle. If they know that he's underneath, they're not going to push wholeheartedly onto site.
Was the top of Laundry... Can you have a look there for me, medics? Look at the top of Laundry stairs. I want to see if that was open there for him to get back through as well. No, it wasn't. How curious. So he must have got away when Crime was not watching the angle as well, because that should have been a surefire kill. However, it's not to be the case. He remains alive for another day and is currently lurking down in basement. You just never know what he's going to strike and do in just a moment. Game finally being opened up. The pressure starting to build up from Rogue as we enter those final 25 seconds. All 10 members still alive. This is going to get chaotic, Ace.
Certainly is. Pasha just looking
There
to
he
get
is.
aggressive onto the breach. Rask makes his move and finds one onto Cryan. Finds two. Three. That's the 20 for Rask as he finishes off Leon. 2 kills come back in, but with 10 seconds left to go, it's
What
Rask.
is this?
Surely not 2 aces in one game. No! WCG takes it away, but 21 kills in the game for Rask will seal the deal for Virtus.Pro as they take down Rogue.
Who's Shaiko again? Like, the man's just gone and broke today wide open. The daily leaderboard, Rask sits at the top, and we were calling it from the very start of the round. You've got to control Rask and Cryan. Again, these rounds always come down to such small details, and the fact that he must have looked away from the quickest second that let Rask slip his way back down Laundry Stairs, get on the roam and kill 4 people. The C4 coming out, the spray up Laundry, the charge up Armory, all that was set up by that one small detail, that one small flank watch that wasn't being covered. What a game for him.
The thing that I wonder about there is, have Rogue not learnt their lesson? Like earlier on at that point in that final round, surely you've got to be screaming, we don't know where Rask is. We know he's going to be a problem, but he was a problem.
How many times we've got to teach you this lesson, old man? It's one of those. The first half, it was Cryan. The second one, well, Rask put him to shame a little bit there and really showed up. Virtus.Pro accelerate themselves into 5th and have got that Russian showdown on Thursday, which I cannot wait for. But for now, let's go and get our analyst thoughts on what has been a cracker of a match.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, back from the Old Men